Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Deja Vu here, bringing you now the losers match of the first group of the MST. And this is going to be hoejja, the insectoid bug zerg. I seriously can't get over the fact that his face just looks like such a, just looks like a bug. Just looks like a bug. And then he's going against the Terran Ssak, who looked extremely flustered, extremely confused in that first game when his opening plan didn't work. And hoejja didn't let him take his natural expansion. It looked like Ssak had no idea what was going on. He was just all over the place. No real organization or plan to get into the mid game once his initial natural wasn't allowed up. And yeah, hoejja really deserved that win. But hoejja played a pretty decent game against JB. I think he really could have beaten JB with a few better plays here or there. I think if he had stronger drops, I think that was the big thing. I think a couple stronger drops from hoejja could have really put Jamie in a bad spot. Certainly could have forced JB's army to come home, or at least go back to one of his bases, because JB's army really never left the middle of the map on Aztec once we got into the mid game, or even really once his zealots at the middle of the map. He was pretty much there for the rest of the game. It was pretty impressive that that he was able to stay there the whole time. And yeah, with that kind of map control, he was able to take hoejja down. But we're going on to a ZVT, and it looks like we're going to have a 12 hatch. Yeah, there we go. We're going to see a 12 hatch from hoejja, and Ssak is hopefully going to be allowed to at least start his build. That first game was pretty ugly from him. First game I can remember seeing him, I may have watched one of his games or something at another time, but he was not, he was unremarkable, and I hope that he's able to. What is he really doing? Command center before racks? There's the command center. Where is his barracks? Where's his barracks? Really? I think that this is gonna work just because it's against a 12 hatch. This is so freaking lucky. Like, I know it's a 4-player map, so 9 times out of 10, or something, maybe 8 times out of 10, your zerg opponent is going to go and 12 hatch. But still, if they don't 12 hatch, you auto lose. Like, there's no way you're going to survive against even an overpool or something like that. You're not gonna survive. So he's gonna make it, I'm pretty sure, out of this one. A second drone being sent by hoejja to go harass, which is kind of funny. And yeah, and hoejja's gonna go do a 3-hatch muta build, it looks like. And but yeah, Ssak or hoejja's not hoejja already advanced. hoejja's good. hoejja. So hoejja's gonna send one of his, nope, not gonna send one of his drunks home. I thought he'd send one of them, the one that's almost dead home. But it looks like he just want to keep up that harass. And Ssak throwing down a second barracks very quickly, gonna try and get some get his marine count back to where it needs to be to face off that initial batch of zerglings that will be produced by hoejja if he wants to be aggressive. So he's gonna need that. And Ssak is going to throw up a bunker, but hoejja sees this. So what I'm actually hoping that hoejja does is that hoejja sees the bunker going down, and rather than producing zerglings once the spawning pool pops, or like producing a lot of them, continues to pump drones. He knows that Sakk's going to be playing very defensive, so pump your drones. You know, there's no need to be extra aggressive, I don't think. Just pump your drones and get your economy in even better shape, and let Ssak use his money on bunkers and things like that. We'll see what he decides to do. That's just an idea, a ploy, if you will. But then again, if he's going to produce zerglings, he should produce a lot of zerglings and try and get the run by. Otherwise, just producing a modest number of zerglings doesn't really serve him, I don't think, because I don't think Sakk's going to be all that aggressive. Working off of this very quick command center, and I could be wrong, because here comes some marines wandering out for some reason. This is really risky. Like, I think Sakk's just looking around trying to make sure that there aren't zerglings or something, or trying to, I don't know. I'm not really sure why you would risk your marines like that and risk them possibly dying to, you know, a squad of like 4 zergs that are wandering out in the middle of the map. But he did, and he's going to get away with it once again. I'm not a big, I don't know, I gotta say I'm not a huge fan of Ssak so far in these first couple games. Some questionable things. Maybe I'm sure that there's a reason that he's sending out those marines solo and scouting with them, but I don't know. It seems a little risky to me, anyways. It seems a little bit risky considering he went for that super fast command center. It seems like it would have been more wise to just play defensive. And I got another phone call. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, so I'm back. So apparently Dish Network really wants you to buy service from them, even though... Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. They're being stupid. Anyways, apparently they're gonna keep calling me every couple days until I get something else or lie to them and tell them that I don't want them to call anymore. Which I don't. I already told them that. Whatever. That's besides the point. They're just being annoying. Anyways, going on to the game. Got a couple more racks coming up for Ssak. Getting that academy going, and Zerglings for Hoejja finally being produced, and Spire being produced. We're gonna see some 3-hatch Mutalis, and Ssak. I'm surprised that Ssak hasn't put down. Okay, now he is. Now he's gonna put down some depots. I was gonna say, I'm surprised that he hasn't put down some buildings that had his choke to narrow it a little bit. It seems kind of open. Really open right now, and it seems like it would be pretty easy to just build one of those 4 barracks or float one of those 4 barracks over and crunch it up a little bit, which would obviously make it much more defensible. But Ssak apparently isn't prioritizing that. Wants to keep his barracks close together to make his macro really easy, or something like that. And Hoejja's taking the top right main actually for his 3rd base, not taking the natural as players usually do, taking the main there. And it looks like Hoejja's setting up to do a little bit of what I call the row-row. He's got a batch of Zerglings right outside Sack's base. He's got a batch of Zerglings to the south a little bit there. Maybe gonna try and goad Sack's units out, his marines out, and then sneak the other group of Zerglings behind and crunch them together. And I hope this could be really successful. No, not yet. No, Hoejja, bad Hoejja. Oh man, this might work. Ah, that was a little bit early though. I think if he had waited for the marines to at least get away from the lower left-hand wall there, if he just waited, let them come out just a couple more steps, that could have worked, because then those back Zerglings could have gone right next to the wall and gotten a true surround. But as it wasn't quite enough. He had it there. He had it. Hoejja had the win, really. Hoejja could have possibly taken the game down, or at least done a ton of damage right there. If he had just another second or two, that could have been awesome. We could have been talking about another sweet hiding Zergling play. That would have been really sweet. But nope, unfortunately he didn't. So now he got Hoejja's Mutalisk. We'll see how his micro is, and not really sure what he's doing. That's not really a place where he should be trying to engage. There's too many Marines and medics, and it's kind of open enough that that Ssak can get all his Marines underneath near the turrets to help defend against them. So it's not really a spot that Hoejja should be trying to be aggressive at. But yeah, that is a pretty impressive group of Marines that's being produced. I mean, you know, 14 CC I guess will do that for you. And here comes Hoejja to the south, going to try and take down some of this stuff. Looks like he's going to take down a supply depot, and Ssak has moved out into the middle of the map with all of these Marines, and it looks like Hoejja's going to come in for a surround, maybe take down some of the reinforced units, the back units, and try and isolate this squad of Marines that Ssak has sent out. But it's a pretty big squad. It's a pretty powerful squad, particularly with the +1 weapons. Not the best control from Ssak that we're seeing. You can see his Marines, a lot of them are kind of splitting away from the blob. They're not blobbing together as much as they really should. There's a lot of them just, you know, a couple to the top or a couple to the bottom. They're just not quite with the rest of the group, which is unfortunate. But yeah, hopefully he'll be able to tighten that up a little bit. We do have a hive being produced as well behind, and these Mutalisks are, oh wow, those Mutalisks are losing numbers. He lost a couple of them. They're trying to go for the medics, which is a good idea, but you don't want to lose. You know, you don't want to lose a Mutalisk every time you dash in there to get a medic. It's not it's not very good. Have a couple starports being built, a couple of starports. So this could I don't know. I don't imagine a Wraith follow-up. Maybe he's gonna pump vessels out of 2 starports, which would be kind of cool. A lot of vessels out in the air. That would work pretty well for Ssak. And this Marine Force, let's see what else is it. Where it's gonna go to the natural expansion, gonna try and put on some pressure there. He knows does he know the lurkers are there actually? Hopefully he scans. If he scans, he'll know that they're there, obviously. And another squad of Marines coming out in the middle to try and reinforce this group. So this is a pretty huge group of Marines that Ssak has managed to produce here and push out into the middle of the map with. Now I think he needs to choose a target. He needs to go, I'm going to go to the top right, I'm going to try and take down this base. I'm going to go to the bottom, I'm going to go and hit the natural. I'm going to do, but you need to kind of, you know, commit to something at this point, I think, if you're Ssak. Whereas Hoejja is committing to a counterattack, going to try and take down the smaller squad of Marines that's at the outside of the natural of Ssak, and not really able to do much there. All the +1 weapons on the Marines is just too much for non-upgraded Zerglings or Mutalists to really deal with. They just do so much damage without the upgrades, which he doesn't have yet. And these lurkers being caught by scan, so he knows that there's there. Ssak does, and yeah, we've got a Defiler Mound started, so a very, very quick hive. And Defiler Mound done in 10 minutes, just over 10 minutes. The Defiler Mound is already completed, so very, very, very quick hive. Gonna need to get that Defiler out to defend. That's obviously whenever you see the quick hive, that is the #1 imperative thing, is that the Defiler gets out in time to defend. Otherwise, you could see them lose a base, or if depending upon the circumstances, you could see them lose 2 bases if the 3rd and 4th are not adequately defended. And Ssak is just not committing to anything. It looks like maybe he's gonna go take a 3rd base, take his mineral only. Maybe that's the plan here. Kind of surprised by the plan that he hasn't committed to an attack. I mean, the lurkers on the ramp are obviously a challenge for the top right, but I think with proper micro, he should have been able to get up there, really. You know, top quality Terrans would really be able to work up that ramp. Somehow, you know, get some Marines up on top of the ramp and surround them pretty effectively, but not to Ssak, apparently not wanting to risk it quite yet. Okay, now he's going. Now he's going to go try and push the ramp. It looks like, nope, not going to push the ramp. There's a lot of lurkers up there now, so probably not, a little too late now. When there was just 1 or 2 lurkers up there, I think he could have pushed up there, not with 5, not without tanks or science vessels or something to help support. And we got a Defiler and some lurker Ling force heading across the bottom of the map for Hoejja. Gonna go for that, is that 3rd? Is that mineral only up already? If that mineral only is up, he's gonna go for it. And I'll swear, looks like a couple science vessels are being targeted, but they're not gonna go down. And this could be a flanking maneuver, actually, for Hoejja. Could come in from behind with the Defiler, swarm right on top of the Marines as they try and retreat from the open, or something like that. Needs to probably swarm. There's 1 swarm, and the lurkers burrowing one of them outside of the swarm, but not too bad. And here comes the Defiler for a 2nd swarm, but the lurker's not getting... Oh my god, are you serious? Really, Hoejja? Really? Did that really just happen? Yes, that really did just happen. He just wasted a swarm, and the lurker in a spot where the lurkers can't even get to. Completely wasted. That was pretty bad. So Hoejja making the first big error of the game right here, with a terrible spot for his swarm. I mean, you know, he puts that down where the lurkers can actually burrow. There was like 1 fire bat out. There was no tanks. Those lurkers could have done a ton of damage, really, but nope. Nope, it's not going to happen. So now we're going to get a counterattack from Ssak. See where he decides to go. Looks like he's going to build a command center behind the attack. Going to go to the top right behind the Hoejja, throwing away a Mutalisk. Awesome. We do have a Defiler out for Hoejja. He's going to need some more. He does have the Knives Canal as well to try and reinforce the top right if he needs to. But Ssak putting on pressure at both places at once, both the top right and the natural expansion. So a lot of pressure being put on Hoejja right now. Hoejja's going to have to be able to micro in both battles and be ready to defend both areas, which is obviously a very difficult proposition, but something he's going to have to do. He's building a couple more hatcheries at the top right to help defend it. That Defiler and the lurker getting irradiated. It looks like a science vessel went down there to Scourge, so that is something to help Hoejja out a little bit. But Ssak, once again, just playing really, really passive still. Just doesn't seem like he wants to engage anywhere, which is... I guess without the tanks and such, I guess that's kind of what you have to do. And almost picking off that Defiler, but not quite. It's able to throw down a swarm and save its life. And Ssak pulling his army back to help defend his 3rd from these lurkers. There's not a whole lot there, but there's a couple there. So he's going to throw down some irradiates, it looks like. Yeah, just going to irradiate the lurkers, let them fall that way.